Hello, Oracles. Well, tomorrow we have our CPI data. And today we had a little bit of a wild ride in the market, a little pensive, we had some breath holding, not a lot of volume that was in the market today, mostly because a lot of people are just waiting to see what happens with the CPI data tomorrow. We've been obviously on a tear straight downhill for basically the last week. So what can we expect tomorrow? Well, tomorrow we are expecting an 8.1% year-over-year inflation number, 6% in core, and 0.2% month-over-month. So core percent is something that a lot of people have been looking at, especially the Fed. So if we come in line there, that is going to give us a good indication as to what the Fed may be doing in June for their interest rate hikes. From what we have heard recently, 75 basis point hike is off the table. So if we get a lower CPI reading tomorrow, then we are in a good place to not get 75 basis point hikes, in a good place to not get that rug pull. So we will be finding out this information at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, and this will tell us where we're going to go. Now, looking at last week when we had the FOMC meeting, the Fed came out and they gave us all the information that the market wanted to hear, and the market cheered this. And it was just a head fake and then sold off massively afterwards. So can we get the same thing tomorrow? Absolutely. One of my thoughts is a lot of these market manipulators are anticipating a lot of investors waiting to see the CPI data, thinking that if we come in line or low, that the market is going to rally. So they may be anticipating this, waiting to pump that rally, and then the market manipulators may be the ones who pull the rug on us this time. So for me, I really don't know, because the market is not trading as it should be fundamentally right now, and there's still so much uncertainty and discussions on both sides of the coin. Should we go hawkish? Should we go dovish? Inflation is still high. What's going on with Russia, Ukraine? Oil prices are still high. What is the president going to be doing? He spoke today and gave us some information that really was more finger pointing than anything. So what is going to happen? Again, I don't know. I mean, I would like, honestly, looking at it like I do with Tesla, I want to look at the fundamentals. And as long as the fundamentals of the economy are moving in the right direction, I'm going to be excited about this. I'm not just going to dump my money all in, because who knows what the manipulators are going to do. However, if I can see that inflation is starting to trend downward, then I will be happy, because this means that we are moving in the right direction. I think currently at this point, and basically my mindset for the rest of the year, is going to be one day at a time. Are we moving in the direction one day at a time? The Fed themselves said that they are just constantly looking at all the data coming in to be able to make the right decisions moving forward. And that's realistically what I'm going to be doing also. If the market gives me opportunities to buy, I'll buy a little bit. If the market starts moving up, I'm just going to hold, because I don't see us getting into a true bull run rally again until the Fed stops raising interest rates. Historically, that's when it starts. So I will buy the dip in little bits as we keep coming down, if we do continue to come down. But if we do make the turn, I'm not just going to dump my money in, because that turn can easily turn the other direction and go right back down again. So again, I'm looking at the fundamentals. If we show that the job market is still good, and we show that consumer spending is still good, and can also show that inflation is coming down on top of this, then that to me shows that we are moving in the right direction. The Fed can potentially get us the soft landing that they are looking for, and we are going in the right direction. Again, every time I get a little piece of information like this, it just gives me that resolve that we are going to get there, and this little bit of dollar cost averaging that I'm doing now will be paying off in the long run. I think it's going to pay off in the long run either way, but fundamentally when it comes to the economy, I want to make sure that we are coming out of this and we are going to succeed sooner rather than later, and not have to go through anything massive like a horrible recession again, or a stock market crash further than we're already coming down. These are just the things I'm monitoring, because if we get information that gives me the indication that we are not moving in the right direction, I might back off on my extra dollar cost averaging and wait to see what happens with the market, because if we start moving in the wrong direction, we could potentially see a bigger pullback. And now I'm not trying to be bearish, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, I'm just trying to be realistic and weighing every option that's out there. And because there are so many varying options and opinions that are out there, and I listen to all of you guys and you're all over the spectrum, which is a good thing because that tells me that the market is all over the place. When all of you have such differing opinions on everything, that means high uncertainty in the market, that means high volatility, that means usually more red, which is what we have seen. So this is where I'm looking at with the trending, and then I'm just going to pay attention to the trends, pay attention to the fundamentals, and then invest accordingly. And to slide over to Tesla for a little bit, I'm just going to do a broad brush on the interview that Elon had today with the Financial Times. It was a great interview. I have not even finished it yet, so I'm just going to go over a lot of the notes that I had seen on Twitter from Sawyer and Rob Maurer over there, and then some of the notes that I took from the first half that I have seen. I will go more into detail tomorrow morning on all of this with more of my deeper insights. But for right now, I'll put the link in the description if you guys want to watch the whole thing. So broad brushing this, the first thing that he was asking about was Twitter. There's a few questions about this, and ironically, one of my best friends had sent me just a headline screenshot today about, Elon says that he will allow Trump back onto Twitter. And my best friend is on the left, and of course, he's like, oh, and so it begins. And I'm like, dude, I was like, this now points out exactly what I talk about when so many people out there just read headlines and they do not read the actual story. Because the headline, reading that, makes Elon sound like he's very right-wing and he's going to bring Trump back and he's racist. And when you look at the actual interview, Elon basically said that Trump should not have been banned permanently because now it gives Trump a louder voice on his own platform. It didn't balance the situation at all. It actually magnified it and made it worse. So this is a problem that is going on, and when you're forced into a corner like this, a cornered animal is going to lash out and do something unexpected, which is what Trump did. So again, I'm more in the middle, very much like Elon is. And this is what he's trying to bring to Twitter. But when we see headlines like this go out there and people don't do their due diligence to read the actual article, or the article itself doesn't do their due diligence to tell the actual truth as to what transpired, that's a problem. And this is what Elon reiterated today. That's why we need to fix this. That's why we need Twitter to be an open source place where we can go in there and see what exactly is going on and give everyone an equal voice. And so they jumped over to Tesla, and Elon basically said he anticipates that they will sell every single vehicle that they produce. Now, he did say that the 20 million vehicles by 2030 is more of an aspiration than a goal. That's just what they're shooting for. They're shooting to replace 1% of the global fleet, which is 2 billion cars and trucks, every single year. So if they can replace 1% every year with EVs, by 2030, that would put them at 20 million vehicles. Again, that may not happen, but that is what they're striving for. And so if you have lofty goals like that, even if you fall short of those goals a little bit, it's still significantly higher than if you would set the goals low, like some of these automotive makers do. And he did say that they may end up having to put a halt on some of the orders because demand is so high. So he said, if they reach a point where demand pushes out lead times to a certain time frame, they may have to stop them. He did not say what that time frame is, but obviously right now they are production constrained. They are really trying to pump out as many vehicles as possible, but because so many people want so many of these vehicles, they just can't produce enough. So there was no more details on top of that. That's all we had gotten when it comes to the production and the demand. Now, he did say that when it comes to supply constraints, he does see that in about 3 years that they may have lithium issues going on. And it's not so much the mining or the finding of the lithium. He said lithium is very abundant. It's more about the equipment needed to refine the lithium. So he said, if it's something that they don't feel that their vendors are going to be able to take care of, they will do it themselves. That's just Tesla's style. They will help out all of their manufacturers. They will help out all of their vendors as much as they can. But if their vendors can't do it, they'll do it themselves. And so Elon, because they are so very data and number-based driven, they can literally map out and say, all right, well, this is how much we have coming in. This is how much our suppliers are telling us that they are going to be able to provide us. This is where we're going to see at this specific moment in time, we're going to have a problem. So we need to solve that problem ahead of time. This is why Tesla, being so vertically integrated, is so far ahead of the competition. The competition right now is just trying to get manufacturing on their basic vehicles done. Tesla is at the point where they're like, we see in 3 years from now, we are going to have an issue. Let's solve that 3-year away issue now, so when we get there, we won't have the issue. And Elon did mention that they are looking at not making any new factories in China at the moment, so they're going to be focusing on expanding Shanghai and focusing on Berlin and Austin and getting them to ramp. So we are anticipating more gigafactories or expansions to be announced this year, but it sounds like they are focusing on these 3 areas to build up on the production. And Elon did say something that we have said on here as well, that when it comes to the competition that's out there, VW is doing the best of all of the legacy automotive makers, and the Chinese startups are doing quite well also. So those are the areas that we have thought will do well in the future, and Elon has the same sentiment. And when asked if Elon thought that they would ever acquire another automotive maker, Elon said it is highly unlikely. He also said that they are leading with the software right now, and they do not think that they are going to be staying there. He thinks that they are going to be extending that lead in the future. And then finally, Elon was also asked how long he thinks that he will be at Tesla, and he says as long as he is useful. So what role he will be playing, I mean, obviously, I can imagine Elon's always going to be useful to Tesla and SpaceX and Twitter. I mean, just the mind that he has with the direction that he is going, he's always going to be useful. But when it comes to him actually being in a directive role like CEO, who knows? Obviously, he didn't address that whatsoever, but he'll be there as long as he is useful. And tomorrow morning, again, I will dive further into all of this. I'm going to finish watching the entire interview. I will give you more of my insights and deeper thoughts on some of these topics. And I'll share that. So let me know in the comments below if there's anything that you took away from the interview if you had watched it. And let me know what you think we are going to come in with for CPI. Do you think we are going to come in line, high, or low? And how do you think the market is going to react? Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. Thank you so much. Have a great one.